The arena of Varela, 9 burned with blue fire. Crowds of alien warriors filled the stands. Scales, claws, feathers, and chitin gleaming beneath the neon suns. They came to witness the trial of the clans, the galaxy's oldest test of honor. At the center stood Rava Katichwar, commander of the KLYN Empire's elite guard, a towering alien woman in obsidian armor lined with plasma veins. She had fought in 17 campaigns, crushed rebels on 6 worlds, and never once been defeated. Across from her stood a single human, bare-armed, barefooted, holding nothing but 2 wooden sticks joined by a chain. The crowd roared with laughter. Primitive, Rava spat, her voice like metal grinding against stone. You bring toys to a war. The human, Captain Mason Riker, just smiled. Toys could be fun. She tilted her head. When I'm done, they'll be your gravestone. He twirled the nunchucks once, a blur of wood in motion. Then I'll make sure it's a stylish one. The referee's claws snapped together. Begin! 2, predator and prey. Rava moved first, a blur of black steel. Her plasma blade cut the air, leaving a trail of molten sparks. Mason ducked, rolled, and the blade sliced a chunk of the arena floor instead of his head. He moved differently than the others she'd fought. Smaller, lighter, unpredictable. He swung the nunchucks lazily, almost mockingly. The crowd jeered. Fight back, human! Someone shouted. Rava lunged again, the tip of her blade grazing his chest plate. He backflipped, landing effortlessly. The chain of his weapon jingled softly. You dance well, she taunted. But this is not a dance. Then why is there music in your footsteps? He said with a grin. That grin infuriated her. She swung again, a vertical strike meant to split him in half. Mason sidestepped, barely, and tapped her wrist with the end of one nunchuck. A harmless clack. Rava sneered. Pathetic. But when she moved her hand, the gauntlet sparked. She looked down. The armor servo line had shorted out. From that single tap, her sneer faltered. 3. Human trickery. Mason began to spin the nunchucks faster now, blurring shapes, one circling behind his back, the other over his shoulder. The rhythm was hypnotic. Every motion a faint hum. Rava's scanners flickered. The vibrations, barely measurable, were disrupting her suit's magnetic field. He smiled again, watching realization dawn in her eyes. Your armor runs on harmonic plasma resonance, right? Guess what frequency I trained to break? You weaponize vibration? Call percussion warfare. She roared, charging forward. But as she swung, the sound of his weapon struck the air, sharp, rhythmic, deliberate. Each contact a chain and would create waves that made her armor's energy shield flicker and distort. By the 3rd strike, her HUD went black. By the 5th, her balance servos collapsed. Rava stumbled forward, the crowd gasping as the mighty commander fell to one knee. 1 minute left. Furious, she tore off her helmet and activated her secondary exosuit layer. Pure muscle, no tech. Enough games! She leapt at him, claws flashing. Mason caught her wrist mid-swing, twisted, and used her momentum to slam her onto the ground. The impact cracked the arena floor. How? She growled, trying to rise. He swung one nunchuck around his back, letting the chain whip her arm. The second end struck 3 times. Shoulder, chest, ribs. Each hit precise, control, brutal. Crack, crack, crack. The last blow shattered the shoulder plate of her armor. Pieces scattered like black glass. The crowd fell silent. In less than a minute, her armor, the pride of the KLYN military, was in ruins. Mason twirled the nunchucks again, resting them casually across his shoulders. Guess your shield tech's allergic to old Earth kung fu. Rava's eyes burned with rage. Finish it, she hissed. He shook his head. Not my style. 5. Honor among enemies. The referee raised a claw. Victory. Human combatant Mason Riker of Earth. The crowd erupted, some cheering, others hissing in disbelief. Rava knelt in the dust, chest rising and falling. She had never been beaten, never mocked and beaten in the same breath. But instead of triumph, Mason's expression carried something else, respect. He extended a hand to help her up. She hesitated. Why spare me? Because I came to prove humans belong in this alliance, not to humiliate its warriors. She studied him, the scars on his arms, the calm in his eyes. Slowly, she took his hand. His grip was firm but not cruel. The crowd's jeers softened into murmurs. Something old and primal, honor, still mattered even here. 6. The Aftermath. Later that night, in the warrior quarters of the orbital citadel, Rava sat alone before a cracked mirror. Her armor lay in pieces around her. The door slid open. Mason stepped inside. "You shouldn't be here," she said without turning. "Probably," he replied. "But I brought this." He placed something on the table. Her helmet, polished, repaired. Didn't seem right leaving it broken. Rava looked at it, then at him. "You mock me again?" "No," Mason said quietly. "I respect what you are. But maybe your people need to see what we humans can be too." She studied him, then sighed. "You fight like chaos given form. No rhythm, no predictability." He grinned. "That's how we survive back home." Her gaze softened. "You remind me of a youngling learning to wield twin blades, reckless, yet graceful. And you remind me of every drill sergeant I ever had." She chuckled, a sound like gravel and wind. 7. The Alliance Offer. Days later, the Galactic Council gathered. The trial had not merely been a duel. It was a test of Earth's worthiness to join the Interstellar Defense Alliance. Many had doubted humans, fragile, emotional, technologically behind. But Mason's victory had changed the conversation. When Rava spoke before the council, her words silenced the chamber. "The human did not defeat me with strength. He defeated me with creativity, adaptability, and mercy. His weapon was not made of plasma or alloy. It was made of discipline. Earth deserves its place among us." Applause echoed. Mason bowed slightly in her direction. She returned it, the faintest nod of respect between equals. And just like that, humanity's future opened beyond the stars. 8. The rivalry continues. Months passed. Mason was assigned as tactical advisor to the KLYN fleet, a political move that pleased no one, least of all Rava. "Don't think that one lucky victory makes you my superior," she warned as they sparred in the training hall. He smirked. "Superior? Nah, just faster." She lunged. He ducked, twirling his nunchucks to deflect her claws. Sparks flew. The soldiers, watching from the observation deck, whispered excitedly. The human and the alien commander, the pair that had turned a duel into legend, were now partners. And if anyone looked closely, they might notice that when Rava smiled, it wasn't entirely out of anger anymore. 9. The Ambush. During a joint patrol near the Vex Rift, their ship fell into a trap. A rogue faction of the KLYN, dishonored by Rava's defeat, attacked with ion cannons and boarding parties. Explosions tore through the corridors. Mason and Rava fought side by side, her plasma blade slicing through metal, his nunchucks shattering the helmets of invaders. "Still think these are toys?" he shouted between blows. "Only deadly ones," she growled, kicking an enemy into the bulkhead. When a grenade rolled between them, Mason flung his nunchucks. The chain wrapped around the grenade, sending it spinning back down the hall. The explosion lit the corridor behind them, painting their silhouettes in orange flame. Rava laughed breathlessly. "You're utterly insane." He grinned. "You noticed." 10. The bond forged in battle. When the fighting finally ended, half the ship was gone, but the survivors cheered. They'd held the line, human and KLYN, together. Rava stood amid the wreckage, chest heaving, armor scarred again, but this time she wasn't angry. She looked at Mason, his hands bruised, his weapon cracked but intact. "Perhaps your toy deserves a place in our arsenal," she admitted. He handed her one of the sticks. "You break it, then teach me not to." They trained under the broken stars of the Vex Rift. Two warriors from different worlds sharing rhythm and laughter. The galaxy would one day tell stories of how the fiercest commander and the reckless human found not rivalry, but respect, and something deeper neither dared to name. 11. 1 year later. On the anniversary of their first duel, Rava challenged Mason again before the council, a friendly rematch to celebrate the new alliance. "Let's see if lightning strikes twice," she said, eyes gleaming. He twirled the nunchucks. "Careful what you wish for." The crowd roared as they circled each other, energy humming in the air. But this time, there was no hostility, only exhilaration. Blades met wood, plasma met motion, and for the briefest moment, it looked less like combat and more like a dance. Two forces perfectly balanced. When they stopped, neither claimed victory. They simply bowed, smiling. 12 epilogued the lesson. Years later, cadets would study the footage of that first fight, the moment an underarmed human humbled one of the galaxy's deadliest warriors. They'd learn how strength wasn't just about armor or weapons, but understanding rhythm, timing, heart. And in the Hall of Honor aboard the Alliance flagship, two artifacts would stand side by side. Rava's shattered armor plate and Mason's wooden nunchucks, repaired, polished, and forever linked in legend. A small inscription beneath them read, "She mocked the humans' nunchucks." 1 minute later, her armor lay in pieces. But from that moment, two worlds began to heal.